Some might call us Tales from the Script Keeper. Others might be joining the Mind's Eye Theater because they want to make it a shockbuster night. Lycans and gentlemen, children of the night, nocturnals, night terrors, and all things that go bump in the night. Welcome to your monthly treatment of shock therapy. The doctor will see you now. Consider us your night watchman for this evening's festivities here at Mind's Eye Theater. We invite you to violate curfew with us for this graveyard shift. Show me your woes, my fellow sleepwalkers, and I'll cure all that ails you. I am your horror host Inkarnate for this sold-out show. Joining me tonight as, let's say per usual, the dearly departed Traumadom. Traumadom, talk to the folks.
More than thrilled to be here tonight, Inkarnate. More than thrilled.
Yeah, I mean, Traumadom and I were speaking beforehand for about an hour before this movie came on. It's like, what doesn't go into this movie? I mean, solid, bona fide classic, without a doubt. I mean, that creature effects, you're looking at the dawn of digital effects that changed blockbusters and summer films, cinema, the way that we know, the way that we recognize it, dude, it changed the game forever. And something I was while I was writing the description for this particular creature presentation that we have tonight, I was telling Traumadom, I'm like, I felt weird calling this a nostalgia film, even though, hey, the reason we're watching it is because it just celebrated its 30th anniversary. What do you, like, when you hear nostalgia, I don't know, I always think about the 80s. Yeah. So, like, it's weird, and I get, look, it's this movie's 30 years old. It is a bona fide nostalgia film. But again, it feels odd to me, just because even though I was born in the 80s, the 90s is where I grew up, it still feels weird referring to that decade as nostalgia. I always consider it, whenever I use that word, it refers, of course, to the decade before that. So what do you think about calling this film a nostalgia act or a nostalgia film?
I mean, for me, it's kind of like Vern and Green Day's classic rock.
Yeah, like, right? I mean, look, I've long acknowledged that back in the day now refers to when I was growing up, and I get that. And another reason why it's so crazy to me that this is a nostalgia movie is not only because it's a classic, not only because of the number of films that tried to emulate it after the fact, but, bro, it holds up. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes you watch a nostalgia movie, like, off the top of my head, let's just say the original Elm Street movie, the original Nightmare on Elm Street. And, you know, you can kind of tell where it's, like, dated in certain fashion or dated in, like, effects, even if you're watching a Blu-ray or 4K cut where the visuals are, like, updated.
Yeah. Yes.
There's this, like, sort of quaintness to it where you know that the fashion or the vernacular of the kids is like a thing of the past, or some of the effects. Yeah, and look, effects. Look at John Carpenter's The Thing. The effects still hold up amazingly for that movie.
They do.
But this film, the fact that it uses, like, huge practical effects, the fact that it uses digital effects, obviously, and it still hasn't aged a day. That's why, and a lot of those movies that we discussed from the 80s, for instance, Predator, Aliens, Hellraiser, The Blob, like, they didn't use digital effects to the level of this movie, and we're looking at, like, the granddaddy of what really kicked it off for digital effects. Like, me and Traumadom were talking about, we had Terminator 2 with the liquid metal effects. Off bat, I'm thinking about the scene where the fat cop is going to get some coffee, and he walks over this, like, what is it called? This these tiles, these black and white tiles, checkerboard.
Yeah.
And you see the T-1000 rise out of that, and it looks completely real. It doesn't look like an effect. And yeah, T2 was no doubt not only groundbreaking, but a quantum leap from the first Terminator. But I mean, Jurassic Park takes it to such a different level, and you got to understand. Yeah, there were dinosaur movies before that, but they were either like really crappy effects, the story wasn't good. I don't know if you've ever seen Carnosaur. 90. I think that
I've seen it.
If it didn't come out, if Carnosaur didn't come out the same year as this, it came out the year before. But there's a reason why you don't remember that movie. There were dinosaur movies with claymation, stop motion.
Yeah.
And believe me, they were considering using claymation for this movie.
Really?
Yes. I know we have the actual movie to get to, and I'm still going through the introduction of this watch party, but I would highly recommend, and not just because I'm a special features bonus material fanatic when it comes to those on Blu-rays, I would recommend anybody watch the making of this movie. You talk about technical wizardry and the origins of like special effects and all that. Like the research gone into what do these things look like? What do they move like? Because we can't just make them move like crocodiles and and snakes. So like the amount of research that they did on the back end, and then all right, you do all your research. You look into this animal, and no, they were an offshoot of birds, or I'm sorry, they were the ancestor of birds, so they'll they won't use like forked tongues like a snake. Okay, you get all that out of the way. You do all your research into what these things are gonna look like, move like. Guess what? You have to build them now with a computer. It's like it's insane to me.
Not only did they explained it.
Yeah,
in the movie.
Yeah,
totally. They'll tell you flat out. Listen, dinosaurs had feathers. What's up with this? Well, we mixed it with this. That there was always an answer for everything.
Right.
It was a realistic answer.
Yeah. Yeah, even paleontologists were impressed by this movie. If you show an Egyptologist the Mummy, they'll be like, "No, wrong, incorrect. No, there's no science behind this. This isn't grounded in anything. This is Hollywood magic." But I'll go into this during the trivia section of the watch party. But no, there were paleontologists that were just like, "Holy crap!" Like a lot of this was completely accurate. So
I think there was a video where they showed Star Wars to like physicists.
Really?
And astrophysicists.
And it connects. And I think that this fits exactly what you're talking about.
Crazy, huh?
Yeah.
You can understand that, hey, there's gonna be there's gonna be poetic license taking with this film, because guess what? It's called science fiction. But still, to me, it's appreciated that actual real world scientists can look at this and say, and be impressed with it and say, yeah, you know what, it's pretty accurate. So
before we even go on,
yes,
I just want to clarify one thing.
Go on.
Is this a genuine
action adventure movie?
Or is this supposed to be a horror movie?
It is
both.
Yes, I would say that. I would say that it is a horror movie disguised as an adventure movie. Is there adventure in it? Yes. And it's funny you asked that, because I'll be getting to that, my explanation as to why this is a bona fide horror movie at the end of the watch party. So first, I want to give a shout out to Torpedo10, new follower on Rumble.
Ooh.
Just followed me yesterday, I believe. So, I mean, man, usually me and Tramadom, we have this little thing called the totem pole, which I will discuss right now. It's our rating for whatever film, and the rating counts whether you've never seen the movie before, what are your expectations, or if you have seen it before, what's your official rating. It's called the totem pole. So, for those of you watching, your options are bottom of the barrel, shallow grave, or what this movie is, high stakes. I mean, let's be honest. It's obvious what our rating for the film is. Tramadon, why don't you explain why? Why don't you explain why this movie is a bona fide high stakes?
I mean, I would have to add on to what you were saying before, Inkarnate. It's not just one special effect geared towards one facet of this particular movie. I would never knock on the Terminator. Never knock that down. But it was really only geared towards one aspect here. You have the dinosaurs. You have the action scenes themselves. You have the scenery. You have everything encompasses special effects. And these are the special effects that led to other special effects down the line, not just for this series and how certain aspects of this series have fallen tragically from grace, but for all the other movies as well.
Agreed.
This to me just served as a benchmark as to what special effects should be.
Yeah, and it's always, I mean, look, I get that not every film gets to enjoy the budget that this film had.
Agreed.
But it's always crazy to me whenever I hear, oh well, early 90s, late 90s special effects. It's like, well, this movie came out in 93. How how late or early would you want it? But this movie absolutely set the benchmark for what other films should absolutely have in terms of its in terms of its budget and the level of special effects that it has. Now, I will be keeping the totem pole up for all of you fine people who are watching along with us. The way I finally figured it out, the way that you vote in this, so you will see what's in parentheses. So if you want to give it a high stakes, and you freaking better, if you want to give it a high stakes, you would actually in the chat, only in YouTube, in the chat, you would type in vote, exclamation point, space, exclamation point again, and then high stakes. So that's how you vote in the totem poll. I'm very curious. I want to hear everybody's what you think of the film, what your rating for it is throughout the watch party, and I'll be giving reminders in order to ensure that everybody everybody votes, and it just helps with the engagement. So I would again. The instructions are basically on screen. It's just what's in parentheses. You type in that into the YouTube chat, and you're good to go. What do we have on tap for today? If you can vote as well in the totem poll, that would be appreciated, Mr. Tramadam. So, now that the totem poll is up and available for all the y'alls to vote, let's see, what have we for all of you fine people? Naturally, I invite you to stream the film along with us. You can queue it up on Peacock. So that's something else that I'm keeping up. As you can see at the bottom left-hand corner of the actual watch party of the thumbnail that I have posted, this is available on Peacock. So queue it up while I take care of a couple of housekeeping items. So, and I will be providing timestamps throughout the watch party to make sure that your viewing experience is synced up with ours, as well as for the convenience of anyone who's joining casually late to the party. So, this Mind's Eye Theater is brought to you in partnership with Hotness TV. If you are in the market, we have sponsorship links in the description of this video. So, what have we? Samsung devices as well as Jabra headsets. Samsung runs the gamut of TVs, tablets, cell phones, soundbars, 4K Blu-ray players, surround sound home theater speakers, all of which is in my living room, except for the soundbar. That's in I almost said the bathroom. That's in the bedroom. So, Jabra headsets, those come in the form of in-ear earbuds, over-the-head headsets, and audio conference equipment. The Mind's Eye Theater is a proud affiliate of the upcoming horror documentary Mental Health and Horror. Very much looking forward to that. Once that comes out, I will do not only a review of the documentary, but I also plan on doing a a review of it. I'm sorry, not just a review, a watch party for you fine folks. As you can see up top, if you wish to support the channel, in addition to our sponsorship links, we have the support link for you to support the Inquisition of the horror genre. That's paypal.com/inkarnate. If you're of a mood, I'll just consider it your pound of flesh. And the streaming service that we use in order to stream these watch parties is called Streamlabs. They were kind enough to provide us a merch link. So that is streamlabs.com/mindgamesinc/merch. So we are coming to you live streaming on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, and Rumble. So in the enduring battle between Inkarnate and the almighty algorithm, my fans are my strongest weapon. So I will, in addition to reminders to vote in the totem poll, I will also give timestamps and respectfully request that you like the video. It just helps it helps this watch party to get pushed into the algorithm. So, therefore, without further ado, we now offer you this creature presentation. Keep your arms inside the watch party at all times, hit that like button, and don't feed the raptors. Traumadom, throw the switch, and hold on to your butts. And since we're playing on Peacock, please no. And we get a frickin' instantly we get a minute and a half or 3 minute promo. That's okay. I already planned ahead for that. So, you probably didn't know this, Traumadom, but
Enlighten me, Inkarnate.
I will be. I'll point it out when we see it. But Steven Spielberg actually cameos in the film. It's not a great role. It's just him. He's like operating the machinery that is uploading or raising up the female raptor into the chamber. Not a major role. I like how he's like the forklift operator, but not the one that not the guy that gets eaten.
Yeah.
I always thought that was amusing.
Well, now that I know that it's disappointing.
Why?
I would have thought he'd done more like a Stan Lee type.
No.
Where I missed it because I was like,
Well, you did miss it.
Came out.
You did miss it. You never knew that before.
No, I did not.
Then what are you complaining about?
Well, now that I know, I have higher standards.
I see. Hopefully, since this is on Peacock, it won't. We won't get like nonstop previews and ads the way we do like on Tubi, for instance. I forgot what movie we saw on Tubi that was like, oh my god, it just was never ending.
Yeah.
It was like every 5 minutes. I'm like, yo, I felt like I was watching Channel 11 again.
Yeah.
Not surprisingly, because this movie uses a mix of practical effects as well as CGI. Except for some very brief glimpses in the opening scene, the adult velociraptors often cited as... It's funny because they're often looked at, besides obviously the T-Rex, the raptors are seen as like the most iconic dinosaur in the movie, but they don't make an on-screen appearance like fully fledged until over an hour and 45 minutes into the movie.
Yeah.
And that just goes to show that level of discipline and restraint. That's one of the reasons why I will list that this is a horror movie. It's in the handling of the monsters. Now, if you compare that to Jurassic World, they just kind of go like they make you wait a little bit, but they do kind of go full bore with the creatures. Okay. The movie is finally starting in 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, fantasy, violence, fear. Even the streaming service knows.
Violence, theater.
Huh?
That's what it is?
That's what it said. Up not the rating, the category of film. It said fantasy, violence, and fear. So in your face, detractors. Did you vote in the totem poll?
Yes.
I must have seen this like 4 or 5 times. Not 4, but I must have seen this at least 3 times in the theater. Like, my mind couldn't grasp that, oh, they're using computer effects. But still, like, it's obviously something about it made me keep going back. And I got this on VHS for my birthday, the year that it came out.
Yeah?
Yeah. And it was a bootleg. See, this is done really well because you think it's an actual dinosaur. And it's just a cage. Oh my god! I think it was McDonald's. They had a commercial where they were presenting like the new Jurassic Park burger, and they had it like this type of setup where, like, and they like promoted it like the uncaged, the untamable Jurasso burger or whatever, and they had the setup where like this big cage is coming through a forest in order to be presented. Isla Nublar. I could never remember all of the islands, and I think that there are only 2 of them.
Yeah. They're Costa Rica, right?
Huh?
Costa Rica, right?
Off the 120 miles off the coast of Costa Rica.
Okay. And Nublar means what?
Sky, I think, or cloud. Yeah, I was like, you don't know what the hell it is that they're moving, and it's only now where you can like really like appreciate. Now this is the first time as an adult that I've seen this movie. Yeah.
I gotta say, it's been a minute. But I never liked to watch classics like this too often.
Yeah, I agree. I don't want it to lose that specialness.
I don't want to kill the magic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'll be getting to that point in a second, but oh boy, always the black guy's the first to get it. They just pull out a torso. Tastes like chicken. I'm kidding. That's not what it said. I don't speak Raptor. But if I did. Yeah, come on. Tell me that this isn't a horror movie. Wow, it is not letting go of this guy.
No.
Must really like the taste. Yeah, to your point, for instance, I don't overwatch Predator, partially because I saw it a lot as a kid. I don't watch Overwatch Predator because I don't want it to lose that magic. You know what I mean? So I agree with you. Mano de Dios Hambre. Mano de Dios Ambermine. I said hambre. He was betting that he was going to fall into the river. Yeah. Oh, God. Like, this guy, the lawyer, such a great role. But that's what I mean about movies like this. Like, let's be honest. It is a throwaway role. You don't need a human villain for a movie like this. And he's not even a villain. He's more like just a stooge, and he's understood. The lawyer. Like, you don't need.
I think this might be the guy that everyone's betting on dying first.
You don't need like a human villain like him, or he's not really a human villain. He's more like just a stooge, or someone unlikable. You don't really need, you don't really need someone like that in this film. But he's in this film, and you remember him. You remember him for just being this sleazy, materialistic, greedy type.
Yeah.
how
Come take a look.
yeah, give me light. We're 5 minutes in, and look, we already have another iconic moment. That's 2 so far for this movie. It's that's what this is. That's another aspect about this film. You know what? There's yet another iconic scene. This movie has, with so many, even 30 years later, with all the big budgets, with all the marketing, with all the special effects. You know what this movie has that just a lot don't nowadays? Movie magic. What the hell happened to that? That concept. Like seriously, name me a recent, and not the Avengers or whatever. Name me a recent movie that legitimately has movie magic to it, like that intangible. And look, this movie's 30 years old, so it's easy for the things that made it like intangible. Why this was great, it's easy for those to have been name dropped and explained now. But give me a recent example of a movie that legitimately it just wowed you, that had legitimate movie magic to it. Go back 5-10 years. Hard to think of, right?
Nothing all around like this. Like this was just well-rounded.
Well said. Agreed.
I can think of movies, and if you give me an example of what you like, I can name you one or two facets. Of that particular.
Yes.
But I could not well-rounded like that.
Agreed. It's just
everything is just leaves you in genuine awe.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. We're not even 10 minutes in, and we've already seen 3 iconic scenes of this film. And here's up here's going to be another one.
And for me, it was great cast pick.
Yeah.
I mean, the lawyer was a great pick.
Yeah.
And all these actors, even in their their latter years, still hold that talent.
Agreed. 100%. Like I said. There's
well-written,
well-developed, well-acted.
Yes.
Bird of Prey.
Right.
It's funny.
What it says is yes. Turkeys are very closely related to raptors now.
How crazy is that?
Yes.
Don't
get me wrong.
That line,
they're closer to falcons and this and that, but turkeys would be more like the ground birds to what these would be.
Right. I want to believe that line was
cassowaries.
I want to believe that line about 6-foot turkeys was put in for a reason. And right here, excellent setup and payoff, because he's describing how they hunt, which we'll see later.
Yeah.
It's funny that they have this like annoying character, this annoying kid here, which they have him to establish that, Dr. Grant doesn't like kids.
Yeah.
But it's funny that they have an annoying kid, because we'll see another annoying kid later on in the movie. These kids' eyes are so freaky. He was in one of the Elm Street movies.
Oh yeah.
Dream Child. They actually had a scene like that in Carnosaur where someone just unloads a shotgun on a charging raptor, and they manage to down it, but they get a little too close, and the raptor just slashes the stomach, and the guts just come right out.
Yeah.
Okay.
So a lot of predators will aim for your stomach.
Yeah.
The closest to your chest cavity.
Right. So this actress, Dr. Sadler on the left, she was uncomfortable because of the big age difference between them, which is funny.
Really?
Yeah. He's like 45 and she's like 25, and they're obviously a couple in this series.
Yeah.
Anyway, what's funny is that like now, not only did she play a Karen in The Last Jedi Star Wars movie, but like now, she looks like she's in her freaking 80s or something, and he looks, good for his age, where she aged like, vinegar.
Well, he aged like fine wine, and she's kind of aged like milk.
In the desert.
Yeah. I mean, look, don't get me wrong. I mean, Her letdowns are pretty tragic.
Well put.
She's still got some good stuff. F is for family.
She's in F is for family?
I'm like 90% certain she is in F is for family.
Huh.
I gotta look at the cast of that.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
So Michael Crichton, the author of this, the author of the book.
Yes, she is.
I didn't know that. Michael Crichton, the author of the book Jurassic Park, which obviously this movie's based off of, he intended John Hammond to be like a dark Walt Disney type character.
Yeah.
But, this actor, he's just so lighthearted and likable. It was most likely unintentional, but this character kind of morphed into a P.T. Barnum, like a showman.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. I always like to hear little tidbits like that.
I mean, I can definitely see what you're going with that. I can definitely see where they're going with that, where it's almost like a greedy nature. But this is the other side of what insurmountable amounts of wealth can get you.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine being able to create something, not just to raise them, but fits every single aspect of what the human race both needs and wants.
Mm-hmm.
Spare no expense, right?
Yeah.
That was his thing. Spare no expense.
Good observation. I agree.
And you need that childlike sense of wonder.
Sense of wonder and also naivete.
Yeah.
And that's displayed in the dinner scene between him and Dr. Sadler, where he's explaining
the flea
circus.
Yes.
You were asking me before, what do I think of the sequels to this movie? Dude, some of the best scenes in this movie are pure character. It's just people talking about the themes of the movie. And you just don't get that in 5 other sequels. It's crazy to me. And if they do, it's like a one-off question or scene or sentence. It's a throwaway line, But again, you spoke about well-roundedness, and that's part of the magic of this film. Genuine movie magic. This movie, it's funny that we have paleontologists here, because the movie and the book, this is probably a no-brainer. This movie and the book generated so much interest in dinosaurs that the study of paleontology had a record increase in students after this film and the book came out.
I can tell you this, definitely did for me.
Yeah, you went into paleontology?
Yeah.
He's lying, folks. Don't believe him.
No.
Bad trauma, Dom.
Yo, there is so many memes to this guy and this movie.
Dodson. We got Dodson here. Yeah. See, nobody cares.
The Seinfeld one is great. I love Newman in the zoo.
And I guess this is another, a more concrete example of the human villain. But again, iconic. He looks like a scumbag. God, he's so fat. I didn't understand this as a kid. I didn't understand what was going on right here. I assume that this is in the book as well, but it just goes to look, dude, they could have just had, hey, we resurrected dinosaurs and now they're running loose. But the fact that they thought that Michael Crichton thought to have a rival company looking to immediately use corporate espionage to smuggle research, not just research, but samples of of dinosaurs off the island is it's great because that explains why there are problems with the security that allows the dinosaurs to get loose.
Yeah.
And there we go. A simple scene like that. No heavy expositions, no heavy-handed. Oh, A is now leading to B. Like, great. He just explained what he does and why. Oh boy, here we go.
Dude, easily one of Jeff Goldblum's most iconic roles.
Jeff freaking Goldblum.
I mean, it's definitely better than like his first role.
Yes.
I wanted to be this guy so badly. Once I started thinking of career.
Honestly, he's like the original Tony Stark. Like a scientist that's cool. You know what I mean? He's not like a lab geek. He doesn't look like Newman, who we just saw. He doesn't got a little corrective spectacle. He's a leather jacket. He's easygoing, the sunglasses.
Chaos.
Flirty, like dude, he is.
What exactly is his role though?
Chaotician.
That's a real thing.
Yeah, mathematicians. It's like probability scales and whatnot.
Oh, okay.
So probably risk management.
Okay.
So
in order to give
some
you
type of insurance.
I assume they'll probably go into it more in the film. God, that the theme of this, and like, look, I get that it has like this, grandeur to it, and that's why I said when you asked what category, what genre is this? It's a horror movie disguised as a family film, family adventure film. Yahoo! I love this. And it's like little things like a scene like this that, creativity, you're getting the most out of a scene. It's not just them unloading the exposition as you arrive on the island. No, it's little character moments like this. I love that.
Nice.
And even he's kind of cool, the hat. The hat is iconic.
Stoic.
Stoic. The bandana wrapped around his neck.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of more like grittier, laid back kind of. Yeah. Some might call it a Sigma male. I hate that term, but whatever. But yeah, like more reserved. Whereas Dr. Malcolm is much more flamboyant and that's probably a bad word, but more eccentric.
I would
Like, look at that scene when he comes out of the helicopter and he grabs he just has like this childlike enjoyment to his own attraction, which exactly.
I mean, for me, it just puts him over the top, that grandiose level.
Yes. After making this movie, Ariana Richards, who plays Lex, she developed a great Yeah, she developed a great interest in dinosaurs and assisted Jack Horner, a paleontologist advisor for this movie, and the inspiration for the character of Dr. Grant on an actual dinosaur dig in Montana the following summer.
Ooh.
That's fascinating.
Very.
I one of these days I want to be at an Egyptian dig site. I would absolutely to me that's on my bucket list. That just because I have such this
An Egyptian grave site or a pyramid grave site?
it depends.
We are coming up with new pyramids.
It depends on what I can find. So let me just see. I believe. Let's look. So we're coming up on the 20-minute mark. So guys, just remember to vote in the totem poll. Remember to like the video, and the instructions for the totem pole are basically on the front, and we're hitting the 20-minute mark now. Just type in to the YouTube chat, exclamation point, vote, and then space, and then exclamation point, whatever your rating is. So looking at the screen, whatever your rating is, basically whatever's in parentheses, you type into the YouTube chat. Here we go. And like it's hard to look back as a kid and
I thought all these things were real.
Yeah, you know, it's like I was captivated, no doubt, but not in an inquisitive sense where I was saying like I imagine my father who took me to see this was like, how did they do that, you know? But not me. Like I was like, oh, it's just a dinosaur.
Yeah.
Now that isn't to say that I was completely mesmerized by this. I was captivated. And this is a great like introduction to these creatures because you show the docile ones, even though
how much effort and emphasis is put into everything.
Yes. Down to the smallest detail.
Yes.
I lost my train of thought. Thank you, Tramadam. You show the wonder of these things, the grandeur, and then of the herbivores, and then later on you show the teeth, you show the you show the carnivores, and that's where the horror element comes in. In 2005, paleontologist Dr. Mary Schweitzer discovered red-blooded cells and soft tissue on the fossilized bones of a T-Rex, meaning dinosaur cloning may someday become a reality.
Well, we are doing it toward in regards to woolly mammoth.
Yeah.
There have been talks about doing it with thylacine, which we really have to do.
What was that?
There's talks about doing it with thylacine, which we really should be doing. For those who don't know, that's the Tasmanian tiger.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
A Tasmanian tiger, Jesus. Can you ask for a worse combination?
They only went extinct less than 100 years ago.
What?
And it is our fault.
Wow.
Yeah.
But they are going to be introducing woolly mammoths, so they say, in the tundra, in the Arctic caves of Siberia. And their plan is to release more megafauna.
So Michael Crichton said that his views on science and genetic engineering are largely expressed by Ian Malcolm. Who is played by Jeff Goldblum. Steven Spielberg saw many parallels to himself in the character of John Hammond. So fittingly, he cast a fellow filmmaker in the role, who begins his tour of the park by showing a movie in which he also acts. While Malcolm is dressed entirely in black, Hammond wears all white. Oh, I have lines too. So the Mr. DNA cartoon was Spielberg's way of condensing a lot of the novel's exposition into a few minutes. And that's what I mean. Like, you know, exposition usually is always and should be frowned upon. Well, as a general rule. But he managed to, again, another iconic scene. He manages to condense it and make it interesting. He's not just explaining exposition to us. He's doing it in a clever way where he's giving exposition to his characters in his movie, which in an interesting way kind of puts us in the feet of the scientists, because they're seeing all this for the first time just like we are. Dinosaurs. I mean, shout out to Michael Crichton, because I mean, what a brilliant idea. Dinosaur. That is incredible, man. Oh, don't mind if I give you a little
fact. Only female mosquitoes can bite.
Yes. Don't mind if I give you the poke. God, to think. We got dino DNA from COVID injections. I'm kidding. Yeah, this is another aspect that I appreciate now as an adult that I didn't understand as a kid. I was just like, oh, cartoons, but yeah, because the DNA is so old, there are gaps in it, so they used modern animals to make a baby dinosaur. And even this will like add to like the fact that they use modern animals, modern DNA to like close the gap, pun intended, for their dinosaur blood. That's gonna have like a plot twist later on too, because that'll explain why the dinosaurs are able to breed.
Yes.
Autoerotica. Forgot about this. They're like, nah, hell with that.
Hold up.
They were like, nah, son, this is my show. Oh, Sam Jackson. So Michael Crichton wrote the novel in 1990, but he first got the idea in 1981. So Crichton wasn't sure how to plausibly bring dinosaurs back to life until he learned about insects in amber preserving their DNA, which was the breakthrough he had been looking for. He later learned the idea is hypothetically possible. A weevil containing dinosaur blood for more than 65 million years ago was discovered in amber, but DNA quickly breaks down in an insect, which is why Jurassic Park dinosaurs are fictional, or at least until recently. See, again, you show a innocent, how can I put this, docile version of the monster, of what the monster will turn into, which is what we saw at the beginning. I wonder if the teeth would be fully formed. But in the trailer, they showed that cracking egg scene, but before you actually get a good look at the raptor. And that just made you wonder, or the anticipation to build from the trailer, and you were wondering what was going to come out of that. And here's where they explain. The novel was published in 1990. However,
And what's it called Jurassic Park?
pre-production of the film began in 1989 using only Michael Crichton's manuscript. It was widely believed that the book would be such a hit that it would make an outstanding movie, and it turns out that assumption was correct. And life finds a way. I love the condescension. I guess this is what like goes into making a role iconic. Like when somebody just becomes, how can I put it? When someone gives such life to a character that you can't imagine anyone else playing them. For instance, like an Iron Man. Like, who the hell else could have played Tony Stark? Other than Robert Downey Jr. Yeah, and that's where the ball drops. And here we go. Feeding time. Chilean sea bass. This is another, like, okay. So we see the beginning where the raptor just goes wild, and then we just saw the raptor as a baby and like that ominous tone.
Yeah.
And now you see it in its element, but it's hidden. Again, this is how you handle monsters. Robert Muldoon. Yeah, that's gonna get put to the test, how much he knows about raptors. Nice knee-high stockings there. Yeah, we certainly saw some of that. Look at Jeff Goldblum is just looking down like, man, this is a bad idea. That was another thing I didn't catch as a kid, like how, well, I don't know if you just caught that, but before that they were in this enclosure, they were like surrounded in fences, and like the lead female had the other female raptors attacking the fences.
Yeah.
But they would never attack one area the same, because they wanted to test like each area, so there was no sense in testing the same spot.
Yeah. See? But that is the philosophy of a lot of billionaires.
Yeah.
If you
If you
change
change
a billion
lives,
lives,
create an idea that'll change a billion lives.
It's been years since I've seen this movie, and it's still so captivating.
Yeah.
And his analogy is spot on.
Yeah.
That
It's admittedly, it is a great
I think
analogy to
that
capitalism.
Sit there and say you stood on the shoulders of intellectual giants, and then just finished up with it. I mean, yeah, but that's everybody.
Yeah, but he's explaining the danger of it.
Of exploiting it. I can understand.
Not only exploiting it, but moving too quickly, because it's like, dude, cloning. Think about this. This came out like a decade before, like the fears of cloning were going to come out. This guy skipped human trials and went straight to an extinct, dangerous species.
Yeah. No, that's fair. And they did just explain it with condors.
Yeah. Again, like to your point about how captivating this is, you're not like, oh God, stop the talking, get to the dinosaur. You know, it's like they're talking about real, valid points, and you're glued to the screen the entire time that they're speaking. To your point about BD Wong, despite his prominent billing, as you saw, he has less than 2 minutes of screen time in the movie. He is, however, the only cast member of the movie to reprise his role in Jurassic World. Wong and Jeff Goldblum reprised the roles in that sequel, Fallen Kingdom, which was atrocious. And then, obviously, in 2022, Sam Neill, Laura Dern.
Bless you.
Excuse me. Sam Neill, Laura Dern, Jeff Goldblum, and BD Wong joined Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard for Jurassic World Dominion. All had, important roles in the movie. I haven't seen it yet. Dodgson, the man who pays Nedry to steal the embryos, he also returned, but he's played by a different actor. Oh my God, I owned one of these toys of the...
I did. I'm guilty of it too.
These were awesome.
I'm pretty sure they had ride-ons as well.
Did they?
Like the little electric ones that like you charge and like you can ride on it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
I don't want
This is spared no expense. Touchscreen, wow. That was a game changer, huh? Oh, you cad. I don't have any porn music to play, but you get it. Okay. Oh, God. He's like, ugh, what do you want? I don't care. He's like, ew, get away. He should have kicked him. God. I wasn't crazy about any of the kids in this movie, which I like. To me, it was always funny because I was a kid.
Pretty cute.
I thought she was annoying as hell.
Yeah, I was also 5.
All right, so we're hitting the 40-minute mark in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So guys, remember to like the video no matter which platform you're watching, and if you are watching on YouTube, make sure to vote in the totem poll as far as what your film rating is for this classic that we got.
Younger Dryas theory.
What?
What the boy was talking about, the Younger Dryas theory.
I don't know what that is.
Tell
the people, Tom.
Hitting Central America. And wiping out a lot of species.
Oh. Okay.
There's just so much knowledge in this movie.
Yeah. All the cast and crew were given a raptor model signed by Steven Spielberg as a gift. It looked frightening, and Ariana Richards has it in her house to shock anyone coming in, like a guard at the gate. Jeff Goldblum's model, excuse me, has a prime spot in his house and is a cherished object, according to the actor. Laura Dern put her raptor model in her son's room near his crib. When he was older, he saw it. He saw it. He screamed like never before. She had to put it in storage, but hopes one day the two will be friends. So Steven Spielberg himself oversaw the post-production of this movie via video link while in Poland filming Schindler's List. He later called it one of the hardest times in his life as a filmmaker, and it took such an emotional toll on him that his enthusiasm for this movie had also waned, meaning Schindler's List. He said that he needed an hour per day to muster up the energy to comment on digital dinosaurs and answer trivial questions from the special effects crew. But, I mean, hey, think about that. Two of the biggest movies that serve as contrasts to what Steven Spielberg is known for, you know, the Academy version of Steven Spielberg, as well as you know, the reputation he has from the fans. Two of the most demanding movies done basically back to back, and while working on one, he's, you know, in post with the other. It shows a level of commitment to him that he went through it. He could have just been like, look, the digital stuff, the wizards can handle it, you know, the computer geeks. But no, he was that committed to his craft. And think of, again, Jurassic Park and Schindler's List are polar opposites in terms of, not of quality, but of, you know, the reputation that Spielberg has, one from the fan side and one from the, you know, the bigwigs. Mm-hmm. Oh, this is such a great, again, this is such a great scene. Or cheap. I love when Samuel L. Jackson sits at his desk to figure out what's going on, and he's just like clearing it of chips and crap like that. I love this. Yeah, look how much crumpled crap he has around his desk. This is another great scene, like, and look, like that's all of the T-Rex's backyard, which obviously you would need that much space for an animal like that. But it's great because you arrive at his lair, and this is another perfect setup and payoff. They give him a goat, and he's like, "Nah, son, you're working on my time. I'm not working on yours." Yeah. So you were speaking about the cast, like how they didn't skimp on that, and these roles are memorable and iconic. Well, that's done on purpose. Steven Spielberg actually delayed the beginning of the film by several weeks to get the cast that he wanted. This is funny. Until she starts talking. Oh man, the beginnings of a Karen. Anyway.
See how well that goes by the end of the movie, Mr. Stern.
Yeah. So, first he allowed Sir Richard Attenborough, who plays the Aussie, he allowed him to finish post-production on Chaplin, the 1992 film, before committing to this movie. He also waited until Sir Sam Neill could finish filming Family Pictures in 1993. Never heard of that movie. Neill ended up only having a weekend off between finishing that movie and starting this one. And interestingly enough, as I just mentioned, was his name Monroe? I didn't catch Richard Attenborough's the Aussie. I didn't catch his name, who he's playing. But in this movie, Steven Spielberg directs the man who beat him to Best Director Oscars in '83, who just happened to be Richard Attenborough, whose movie Gandhi beat Steven Spielberg's E.T. As Best Picture.
Really?
How about that? I never knew that this guy was. I'm telling you, man, great character moments. Oh, it simply allows me to lean in closer and flirt with you in front of your boyfriend.
Yeah. Which is just the kind of creep I'd expect him to be in real life.
In real life? That's harsh. Oh boy, yep. Tugging at her hair. This guy's such a swinger. I'm telling you, he is the OG Tony Stark. It's just that Tony Stark has that jerk element to it.
Yeah.
Down the crack of your ass. Jesus. Easy there, Pepe Le Pew.
Dude, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, whatever with this. I love how like generally he doesn't care about this guy's like coming on to his woman. I'm telling you, man, Sigma male. Call me crazy, but one would have. Oh wait, they kind of. That guy, that was the director I was talking about, who his movie Gandhi beat E.T. to get nominated or to win Best Picture in '82. So, a lesser man would have held a grudge. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
God, a Macintosh. Jesus, those used to be a joke. I mean, I guess they still are.
Yeah.
So, I guess the following trivia note would only be interesting to geeks or veterinarians, but the guest's encounter with the the Triceratops. This ends without an explanation as to why it's sick. So Michael, in the book, in the novel, it's included. There's an explanation included. I guess in the novel it was a Stegosaurus. Here it's a Triceratops. It lacked the suitable teeth to grind food. So similar to birds, how they swallow rocks and use them as gizzard stones to, in the digestive tract, the rocks grind the food to aid in digestion. And after, get this, 6 weeks, the rocks would become too smooth to be useful, and the animal would simply regurgitate them. So when finding and eating new rocks to use, the animal would also swallow West Indian lilac berries. Oh, lovely. That's got to smell aromatic. Park ranger, ma'am. Yep. Get off me, man. I can't move. I'm sick. Yeah, everything about this girl just bothered me. And even now. No. I'm so hideous. And she's pretty committed to her craft that she would go literally digging into a dung heap. Gotta head out? All right.
Yeah, sorry, man.
No, not a problem at all. Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks for having.
Until next time.
Yes. Early day. Alright, man. See you around.
Peace out. So John Williams scored the movie at the end of February '93, and now let's take a look at the latest Blumhouse script. I agree, they all are. Anyway, John Williams scored the movie at the end of February '93 and recorded it a month later. He felt he needed to write pieces that would convey a sense of like awe and fascination, given it dealt with the overwhelming happiness and excitement that would emerge from seeing live dinosaurs. Tenacious. So, the trike dung, luckily for the actors, it didn't smell at all. It was actually made of clay, mud, and straw. It was drizzled in honey and papayas, so flies would swarm near it. Even this practical effect is just the detail of the skin on this thing is it's just really well done. It's a great creature effect. Michael Crichton was asked why the novel has Jurassic in the title. This is another like geeky moment. He's asked, hey, why is the novel called Jurassic when the dinosaurs in the movie are from the Cretaceous period on the cover? He replied better than I did. He just said that it never occurred to him, and he admitted that was just the best looking design. I just would have been like, shut up, nerd. Watch the movie and give me your monies. Oh, you're asking for it. God. Doesn't look guilty at all. No, you told me to just recalibrate everything. Just 15 minutes. Any little chips, anybody? God, the way that mice used to look. Computer mice, I mean. Great use of the score. All right, here we go. Now's where things get good. I forgot that happened this quickly after the trike scene. Occasionally. Yeah, that wouldn't fly nowadays. He'd be regretting that, considering what divorce court is. Nice. Constantly, I mean, talk about chain smoker. Yep. Again, great setup and payoff. Like, having this character, like, it's not just that the dinosaurs break loose. That's to be expected, but the how. The fact that thought was put into that is very much appreciated. I'm telling you, man, it's like these little things that make this T-Rex and Raptor DNA. It's these, like, fine touches that make this such a great movie. Stego, Metropolipolis. Great use of soundtrack. Let me grab some water real quick. Uh-oh. Available. Why? No reason. Yeah. Yep. One after another. It just hit the fan. I forgot about that. Check the vending machines. Oh my god. Incredible. I forgot about that. Oh, that's great. Check the vending machines. That's what I was referring to before. Not a complete slob. Because that's his escape route. What a little porky. Oopsie doopsie. Bleep bleep. Another great scene. I'm telling you, man. Clickety click click. All right, we just crossed the 1 hour mark. So guys, remember to vote in. If you're watching on YouTube, remember to vote in the totem poll. Instructions are on the in the left corner. Just type whatever your rating for the movie is. Just enter in the chat what's in the parentheses. So if you think it's a bottom of the barrel, you can get the hell off my watch party. I'm kidding. You would just vote vote space bottom of the barrel. And remember, no matter what platform you're watching, be sure to like the video. I love how his grandfather like runs the place, but he's still got to be a dick. I'm talking about the lawyer. Don't scare me. Do as I please, woman. Michael Crichton estimated that the screenplay has about 10 to 20% of the novel's content in it. Which is it's always funny hearing novelists or authors speak on how their books are adapted, how they feel their books have been adapted, how faithfully I should say. And here we go. So, funny story behind this. The most difficult effect to pull off was this. The vibrating rings of water. Steven Spielberg wanted the T-Rex to announce its presence somehow before the audience saw it, and got the idea from watching the mirror in his car vibrate from the bass effects whilst listening to Earth, Wind, and Fire. When Michael Lantieri tried to replicate that with water, it was harder than any of the dinosaur effects. Think about that. Nobody knew how to do it, but told Spielberg they could. So, the night before the shoot, Lantieri put a glass of water on a guitar. Hold on, I'm just appreciating this incredible scene right here. And lamb chops. Why, hello. Lantieri put a glass of water on a guitar, and when he plucked the strings, that did it. So, for the scene, they fed guitar strings under the dashboard to get the effect. And a man on the floor plucked the strings to achieve the effect. Yikes. So, when the audience first sees the T-Rex, the director Steven Spielberg wanted it from the inside of the SUV, so the audience feels like they're experiencing it right there with the characters and feel their fear. Incredible effect. I love how it goes right after the lawyer. Oh God, this moron. Seriously, how stupid do you have to be? And And then she doesn't know how to turn off a freaking... He was at least smart. She doesn't think to face the flashlight downwards.
Emotional damage.
Boy. And so the T-Rex or the sound of the T-Rex's footsteps were created with cutting sequoias crashing to the ground. I'm telling you, like, oh, awesome. Jesus. Talk about nightmare fuel. Crazy that it thinks it's an animal. He's like, what? Where's the meat? This is all bone. Dumb bitch. This is a great character moment. So the T-Rex occasionally malfunction due to the rain. Hold on. This is another great moment. Why would you do that? I love this. This is great. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. It's chasing him now. And then he's right on top of the snout. If you don't know where to catch it, you don't see Ian on top of the thing's like on his snout. Oh my god, creepy. Moron. And because she's not done being a complete idiot, even like the way she turns her head, she's so annoying. Nice. God, that is terrifying to say the least. I mean, like any movement could alert. Any movement could alert this thing to where you are. Yeah, this, because of the rain, this enormous animatronic puppet would malfunction. So producer Kathleen Kennedy recalls, the T-Rex went into the quote-unquote heebie-jeebies sometimes, scared the crap out of us. We'd be like eating lunch, and all of a sudden, a T-Rex would come alive. Yeah, could you imagine being in this situation? It's raining, you have to crawl down because of this monster above you, and a Jeep is about to fall straight downwards. Even this effect and like still holds up. Damn, that could have taken out his foot. Anyway. She continues, at first we didn't know what was happening, and then we realized it was the rain. You'd hear people start screaming. Well, at least the head didn't spin around and start talking Latin like in The Exorcist. But damn, that happened twice to Spielberg, lest we forget the shark from Jaws. So, haha, as if the news couldn't get any worse. Speaking of, so shortly after Nedry makes his first appearance in the control room, during his argument with Hammond, if you know which monitor to look at, Jaws is playing in a small video window. And the movie was, of course, directed by Steven Spielberg and was Steven Spielberg's first experiment into animatronic animals. Obviously, the shark. And, oh, man, the behind the scenes into all the headaches. I mean, it really is the stuff of movie legend, because had he shown too much of the shark, it most likely would not be the classic that it is today. It's because the mind... You could always hear that whoop sound as the water gives way beneath him. Anyway, yes, it really is the stuff of legend, because it's like the mind is able to fill in the gaps because you don't see much of the shark, and because they pull away at the right times in the movie Jaws. I missed this part before, but while using chaos theory to flirt with Ellie, it just so happens that after meeting on the movie, the two actors, Goldblum and Laura Dern, began a romantic relationship, and were even engaged for 2 years before breaking up. And Goldblum is famous for striking up relationships with co-stars. The Fly, for instance. Oh, you'll see. I remember laughing in the theater watching this. No food? Are you sure about that, Tubby? Stick, stupid. This thing really just kept messing with him. I love it. He's like, let me live. And... Jesus. Oh my god, that sound. That putrid sound. Yeah. And... round two. Oh my god. Stupid. I love this. Oh my god, can it get any worse? So, the Dilophosaurus's fictitious venom spitting ability and its neck frill became so iconic that almost every other appearance of the animal in popular media, including many Dilophosaurus toys, feature at least one or both of these traits. Some even leave out the dinosaur's striking double crests, from which it gets its name, two-crested lizard. In reality, the spitting ability was only made up by Michael Crichton. So, while adding the frill was the idea of concept artist John Gertsch. So, in the late 20th century, scientists mistakenly thought Dilophosaurus had weak jaws because its fossil skull was incomplete, distorted, and badly reconstructed. So, many books claimed it couldn't have killed prey with its bite. Crichton based his idea about venom spitting on these outdated theories, proposing that Dilophosaurus might have used venom to hunt. This also served to demonstrate that real-life dinosaurs could have looked and behaved much differently than what people believed by studying their bones. This idea turned out to be true when many dinosaurs, mainly raptors, were discovered to have had feathers during the 1990s and 2000s. In fact, in 2020, Dilophosaurus was also given a scientific makeover. More detailed studies revealed it had significantly thicker keratin covered crests filled with air sacs rather than the thin plate-like crests seen in the film, and robust jaws that would have been perfectly suitable to kill prey, meaning that it wouldn't have had needed venom. So Dilophosaurus's fictional features are the consequence of the dinosaur being not pureblood. The frilled lizard's DNA is responsible for the neck frill, and the spitting snake's DNA is obviously responsible for the venom. I'm telling you, of all the trivia, of all the films that I looked, of all the trivia for films that I've looked up, this is like, it's, there were just pages of this stuff. It was fascinating. Sam Neill actually injured his hand while lighting the flare he uses to distract the T-Rex. And according to Neill, it dropped some burning phosphorus on me and got under my watch and took a chunk out of my arm. Ouch. Could you imagine that? So I just explained my dislike of the girl Lex. Ariana Richards, who played Lex, she was actually upset by the fact that like pretty much everybody else got an action figure except her character. Kenner only made dolls for Dr. Grant, Dr. Sattler, Muldoon, that's his name. Nedry. She got bumped by Nedry. They made action figures for Tim and eventually Malcolm. Well, like I said, she was annoying anyway, so like who the hell would have bought that anyway? Like, you can get as mad as you want, but like, lady, really? Expecting an action figure. Like, I understand, like, you getting mad that they made one for Nedry and the guy who played your brother in the movie, but like, come on, bro. You? Why the hell would anyone make an action figure of you? Oopsie! That obviously was used with trickery. Sleight of hand. Could you imagine arriving on the scene and you can't find the other vehicle? Uh-oh. Yeah, he's all over the place, apparently. I love it's just another another great scene with Ian Malcolm. Lucky his ass didn't get eaten by the Rex too. Okay. Yep. God. Just the despair of all of this. Okay, where are we at? Oh, all right, we just hit the hour 20-minute mark. Another reminder, guys. Oh, this is a great scene. The water in the footprint. Just a reminder, guys, no matter what platform you're watching this watch party on, make sure to hit the like button. It just helps this video get recommended in other people's feeds. And be sure to vote in the totem poll. Instructions are on the screen where it says totem poll. Just enter the text. Enter the text between the exclamation points, or I'm sorry, exclamation points, between the parentheses into the YouTube chat. This is awesome. So Roland Emmerich liked that objects in the mirror. Roland Emmerich liked that line so much. Oh boy. He liked that line so much, must go faster, that he added it into he added it into Ian Malcolm, or I'm sorry, what's his name? Jeff Goldblum's line in Independence Day when they are on the spaceship leaving the mothership. I had forgotten about that. The whole "we must go faster." Ariana Richards, Lex, her audition consisted of standing in front of a camera and screaming wildly. Steven Spielberg, quote, wanted to see how she could show fear. And Richards remembers, according to her, I heard later on that Steven had watched a few girls on tape that day, and I was the only one who ended up waking his sleeping wife off the couch, and she came running through the hallway to see if the kids were all right. Paleontologist Robert Backer was blown away by the movie's dinosaurs. Tim name checks Backer when talking to Grant. I think that was the author he was referring to. So the T-Rex model was controlled with a Waldo, a very small replica to manipulate it to get it to respond correctly. They weren't supposed to get it wet because it was fine-tuned into how much it weighed. But once they shot in the rain scene, it stopped responding. Between takes, they had to towel it down to dry it out at night. When it attacked Lex and Tim, it lost some of its teeth on top of the car. They tried gluing them back in, but one refused to stay in after 20 minutes. There's a shot where if you pause it in the right place, you can see it's got a missing tooth. So, what? Bad puns. Okay. As much of a fan as I am of bad puns. So when Hurricane Iniki hit, the cast and crew were all required to move into the ballroom of the hotel in which they were staying. So Richard Attenborough, who plays John Hammond, he stayed in his hotel room and actually slept through the entire event. When he was asked, how could he possibly have done this, Attenborough simply replied, "My dear boy, I survived the Blitz." That would be the Blitzkrieg of World War II. Believe it or not, I was hoping Tramadon would be, oh, this is the great scene about control. I was hoping that Tramadon would be here for this little bit of trivia. James Cameron had stated that he wanted to make this movie, but the rights were bought a few hours before he could bid. So upon seeing this movie, Cameron realized that Steven Spielberg was the better choice to direct, as, and this shouldn't be a shock, his version would have been much more violent, aliens with dinosaurs, basically, which wouldn't have been fair to children who relate to dinosaurs. The visual effects were directly influenced by Cameron's Terminator 2 Judgment Day film, however. See, like, the message in this movie, in scenes like this, it's never preachy. Kind of like it was in the sequel. Environmentalism and all that crap. Mm-hmm. It's crazy to me how 5 sequels later, I mean, completely vacant of any type of moral dilemmas or attacks of crisis or anything like this. You know what I mean? And it's not even like they have one scene of this. No, it's they keep it going. Yeah, you have your monsters and you have your dinosaurs, but like this scene, the lunch scene earlier, the discussions about raptors. This really is a great, like, her tying it back to it's still the flea circus. It's such a great, and I don't know if this is in the book or not. Yeah, buddy. People's lives actually matter. All lives matter. Thank you. Cool whip. So the job of animating the full dinosaurs was given to Phil Tippett. He did several pre-visualizations with stop-motion animation where models are slightly moved in between shooting separate frames. So motion blur would be digitally added to the movements to seem less jerky and more convincing. However, ILM, Industrial Lights and Magic, their visual effects artists, Steve Spaz Williams and Mark A.Z. DePay, suggested that most of the full-size dinosaurs could be fully animated on computer from head to toe, although their boss, Dennis Murin, told them that they could never do a better job than Tippett. They proceeded to create a test animation of a skeletal T-Rex anyway, which was shown to Kathleen Kennedy when she visited ILM. Kennedy informed Steven Spielberg, who was intrigued, and ordered another test reel. He was blown away by the final result. where a fully fleshed T-Rex walks through a desert. He and Tippett looked at each other, and Tippett said, "I think we're extinct." That's one of those like famous lines, and Tippett being, you know, the practical effects guy. So Spielberg liked the line and gave it to Jeff Goldblum to say to Sir Sam Neill in the Visitors Center. Tippett later stated that he was genuinely physically sick from feeling obsolete, and he left the set for 10 days, but he was later hired to help design the computer-generated dinosaur movements. And this is the payoff that was set up earlier regarding use of frog DNA. Life found a way. So about the animatronics versus the CGI, it should come as no shock that, generally speaking, any shot of a full dinosaur, computer generated. Shots of parts of dinosaurs were animatronics. Well, that's why you can't use Dominion voting machines. Almost got high water pants on. Well, the park is out of control anyway. Interesting. But it's cool that they thought of things like this, like, you know, making all the dinosaurs female, this whole lysine contingency thing. It's really that easy, just flipping a switch. Marco. And yeah, that's a L. That's a L there, Samuel L. See what I did there? Yeah, everything's fine. So it's oh. Spielberg liked the dinosaurs to do like little behavioral things that had nothing to do with the plot, like, you know, stopping to scratch. But he learned that kind of technique when he from doing E.T. A scene like this I've always kind of liked, because you can get horror scenes, horror content from the herbivores. Because obviously this isn't like a flock of raptors. These aren't a flock of raptors that are gonna like tear them to shreds. And shout out to the crew and Spielberg for shooting these scenes in the daylight. Where it's, oh man, like the harshness and unforgiving defects of special effects can come out, but that's obviously what we just saw. A very convincing sight, or visuals, I should say. But yeah, like I've always thought that, you know, you don't, in order to get the full effect of these dinosaurs and how horrible they are, you don't always have to show the, how can I put it? You don't always have to show the carnivores. Like you can't have a stampede of herbivores. You can have like, you're stuck between a rock and a hard place with accidentally crushing the eggs of a stegosaurus or a triceratops. Imagine. I mentioned the stampede. You could have the pterodactyls attacking. You know, you don't always have to go the T-Rex or raptor route. No kidding. Oh, excuse me. Yeah. That was an utterly... She's such an annoying character, too. I didn't realize until I was older, but it's like, lady, not for nothing, I think he knows more about his own park than you do. Like, what is your expertise again? Because it ain't engineering, or you're not an electrician. And here's another great scene. This is like the Gremlins kind of scene. Where you see, like, the menace that they're capable of by what it is that they've left. Man, look how... Look how high they would have to jump. Gotta have that stereotypical curl on the hat. Is it me, or did he just get really sweaty really quickly? Keep something in mind. He's supposed to be the expert in raptors. I've got her. Well done, stupid. That menacing score. I forgot that what's his name? Samuel Jackson went out for a stroll, and clearly they're supposed to be right next to. they were supposed to be fairly close to what it is that they were looking for, or, you know, the station that they needed to be. Okay, what time do we have? We just passed the hour 40-minute mark. So again, guys, no matter which platform you're watching, be sure to hit the like button. It just helps the video get recommended to others. And if you're watching on YouTube, instructions are on the totem pole for how to vote in it. Just enter the text in... What a dick! Just enter the text that's in the parentheses into the YouTube chat to cast your voting on the film rating. Yep, you're in for a climb. You can't trust a woman with directions. You should know better. If only you knew. So the crew actually had to have safety meetings about the T-Rex. It weighed 6 tons, 12,000 pounds, and was extremely powerful. They used flashing lights to announce when it was about to come on, to alert the crew, because if you stood next to it and the head went by at speed, it felt like a bus going by. This is really good suspense. Stupid. Really good suspense. See, that's what I mean. Like, moments like this are... you can't deny which genre... You can't deny which genre this film belongs to. Damn. Jesus.
Emotional damage.
Gee, good thing you didn't bring a gun for yourself, huh? This part was really creepy. How it, like, peels the fence. You know, not for nothing, but just because it's the arm of a black guy doesn't mean it's automatically Samuel Jackson. Just saying. You bigot. Creepy. The hell's wrong with your leg? So director Steven Spielberg, he wanted the raptors to be about 10 feet tall, which was taller than they were known to be. So according to an artist involved in pre-production, Spielberg requested this change because he was unhappy with the size of what was considered the largest saurid at the time, which was the Deinonychus, and wanted it to be bigger. So another reason was to make the raptor more menacing. So during filming, paleontologists actually uncovered 10-foot tall specimens of raptors called Utah raptors. So Spielberg also wanted the dinosaurs to be bird-like, and surprise, surprise, Jesus, oh my God. Well, not for nothing. At least he went for the head first. Anyway. So Spielberg also wanted the dinosaurs to be bird-like, for example, snapping to attention like a chicken. He wanted the raptors to turn their heads so they could look behind them to make them have a scarier appearance, which admittedly would have been freaky. Spielberg likened the raptor tapping its claw to Morse code to any raptor listening, which you'll see later on. When the Utah raptor was discovered right before the movie's release, which had a similar height to the raptors depicted in this movie, Stan Winston joked, "We made it, then they discovered it. That still boggles my mind." So the character arc of Dr. Grant it's very Spielberg-esque, where he has like that the reluctant father figure. And the smorgasbord. Damn. They go to town on this. During the scenes with the T-Rex, Spielberg would roar like one through the megaphone, and in order to get the cast like more into the film, but instead it had the opposite effect because everybody started cracking up whenever he did that. And Sam Neill stated that was kind of more funny than anything, and the acting part was not laughing. It's not easy. Uh-oh. Do we have an unexpected dinner guest? This was really good too. It just so happened that this scene. Let me get to this quick. So Spielberg was in the very early stages of pre-production for ER, also based on Michael Crichton's novel, when he heard about the Jurassic Park book. He subsequently dumped what he was doing to make this movie. Afterwards, he returned to ER and helped develop it into the hit TV series that we all know, ER. I mean, just great, iconic sound effects. So this kitchen scene was probably... surprise to no one, the kitchen scene was Ariana Richards' favorite scene. It was filmed in 2 weeks with raptors there most of the time. And a man in a suit some of the time. So anyone in a raptor suit could only do it for up to 15 minutes because they were obviously bent over in a downhill skiing position, which, as you can imagine, is very physical. The raptor clicking its toenails was done with a puppeteer walking on raptor legs. I've always liked that touch. Yeah, little things like that Spielberg added in order to make them more realistic. And it really, it works because, animals do little things like that. Great scene. I've always wanted to make like a parody of combine all the holidays into a single movie, which I don't think anyone's ever done before. The closest that the closest we ever got was a Simpsons parody and that holiday tree scene from The Nightmare Before Christmas. But anyway, that is such a cool effect. I always thought it'd be great if, I don't know, some fireworks were shot at like giant turkeys, and turkeys that are to be served on the dinner table. This scene really does need to be appreciated. At least she looked out for her brother in this regard. This is also really good. Again, practical effects, tension, and awesome. And he's firmly soiled his pantaloons. Anyway, a dinner table is being prepared, and fireworks are shot at vultures. I'm sorry, they did the same effect twice. Clever use of ice. Fireworks are shot at vultures, and now they're like plucked or whatever, and they look like giant. In an homage and a parody of this scene, the turkeys are now like burnt with all their feathers removed, and now they just look like plucked. They look like plucked and burnt velociraptors. So interestingly, Michael Crichton wrote the novel Jurassic Park because of his concern of the rise of scientism and the exploration of biogenetics for the sake of profit. It's always funny whenever people make these movies based on commentary about big business or capitalism or profit, and then much like because that was the theme or motif of Dawn of the Dead, and look at what the sheer glut and commercialism that came out of zombie paraphernalia. God almighty. This was always such BS. Like, you gotta believe that the security system is worth hundreds of millions, and this little girl who studies hacking or whatever manages to fix the entire problem. Nice. And honestly, how old is she that she would be able to know all of this? I still don't like her, for the record. And this expression, it just completely kills this character's momentum. She does back-to-back things right, and I hate her. I still hate her for one of them. Don't worry about me. The kids are fine. Well, so much for that. Aw, none for me. Haha, nice. Great use of lighting here. This was also a really good effect. Both the practical there and the digital here. That looks completely real. So before the book was published, Michael Crichton demanded a non-negotiable fee of $1.5 million, as well as substantial percentage of the gross. Hey, shout out to him, man. Universal Pictures wound up paying him $2 million for the rights to his novel before it was even published. So how about that? Another great scene. Oh, Jesus. I hope my wire team is ready. You could have rolled out of the way, you dumb broad. Oh my God. This kid could not stop having near misses with things falling on top of him. We've got company. Look how real that looks. And everybody's favorite part is coming up now. Keep in mind, you could hear these things coming in the wilderness, but not on solid floors. Tally ho. Admittedly, this was an awesome scene, and they followed up with another. So we chewed on him and then killed the crap out of him, and the victory banner. Incredible. Great freaking movie. So, this movie opened on Friday, June 11th, 1993. I mean, broke box office records just in its first weekend. $47 million opening gross. It eventually went on to make more than $900 million worldwide. David Koepp remembers the day it opened. He says, I was in New York and I walked to the Ziegfeld Theater to see how it was doing. The guy comes out and announces to the big line, ladies and gentlemen, the 7 o'clock show of Jurassic Park is sold out. And people go, oh. And he goes, also the 10 o'clock show is sold out. And they went, oh. And also Saturday nights, 7 and 10 o'clock shows are sold out. And I was like, I'm not an expert, but I think this is very good. It grossed $402 million in the U.S. and just over $1 billion worldwide. Steven Spielberg, dude, this guy made out like a bandit. He made $250 million from this movie, the largest sum of that any individual has made for a movie. That's gross and profit participations. Okay, we are about to hit the 2-hour mark, but the movie's coming to an end anyway. If you stuck with me this long and you've enjoyed this watch party, I ask that you vote in the totem pole, instructions on the left of your screen, and you leave a like just so that this can get passed along in whatever platform you're watching. All right. That, folks, is the end of our film. Man, what a movie, what a classic. I haven't seen this. I know for a fact I have not seen this like on DVD or whatever. This has to be my first time as an adult watching this. And mind you, I have this on 4K. But man, I mean, just what can, after all this time, what can you honestly say about this movie that hasn't been said already? It's a bona fide classic. It earns every bit of its reputation. Steven Spielberg actually changed the climax a few weeks before the end of the shoot. Excuse me. He saw early visual effects footage of the first 2 T-Rex sequences. He realized that more was possible. The original climax involved the raptors being killed by the T-Rex skeleton in the visitor center, but as we just saw, Spielberg felt the audience would hate him if the T-Rex didn't make one final heroic appearance, since he considered the T-Rex the star of the movie, hence the raptor and T-Rex fight. So the new climax was completely computer animated, unlike the first T-Rex attack. They enacted it and then added the effects. It was the last scene to be filmed, as you could imagine. So, merely 3 years after the movie wrapped, it was discovered that many carnivorous dinosaurs were mostly or fully feathered, and some of the actual wings, some had actual wings rather than arms, implying that Dr. Grant was right. They shared their shared ancestor with birds. So a smaller relative, for instance, of Velociraptor called Microraptor was discovered in 2000, had 4 wings, using its 4 limbs to glide between trees while the wings on its legs acted as a sort of rudder. Interesting, right? What else? Evidence of modern bird-style wing feathers on velociraptors were described in 2007. Scientists, however, have already suspected that raptors had feathers well before the movie was made. Paleontologist and artist Gregory Paul, whose scientific ideas inspired the Jurassic Park novel, he illustrated raptors with feathers in the mid-1980s. In the book Maiasaura hatchlings, which were not included in the film, obviously, also had fluffy feathers. Tyrannosaurus, on the other hand, caused a lot of debates, as its ancestors and distant relatives were definitely coated in primitive fuzz-like feathers, but no physical evidence exists for the T-Rex itself having fuzz. Scientists think it either lost the need for feathers or it was feathered when young and gradually shed them as it grew. The groundbreaking effects were obviously the highest point of praise from critics. Stanley Kaufman wrote that it made King Kong 1933 look like something from a Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade. However, the human characters did receive flack from critics. God. Critics were douches even back then and were no judges of talent, clearly. Even from those who gave the film a positive review. Peter Travers felt that the characters were forgettable. Really? That ages well. describing them as dry bones and non-entities. With Roger Ebert likewise saying the movie is lacking other qualities that it needs even more, such as a sense of awe and wonderment and strong human... Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Let me read that again. Roger Ebert likewise saying the movie is lacking other qualities that it needs even more, such as sense of awe and wonderment and strong human story values. And also,
It doesn't matter what you think.
I swear to God, these critics. The only thing that doesn't age, like, more than these movies, what doesn't age well is the criticisms and lacking witticisms of these movie critics. I almost wonder, do these people even like films? Kenneth Turan wrote that the effects left no time to make the people similarly believable or involving. Wow. Variety noted that despite the one-dimensional characters and clunky story, it delivered and is now considered a classic Hollywood blockbuster. Pfft, God. Just goes to show you. Regardless, moving on. Despite being called Jurassic Park, the dinosaurs... we've covered that before. I'm sorry. No, we didn't cover this before. Despite being called Jurassic Park, the dinosaurs only have around 15 minutes of screen time. Think about that. 9 minutes are Stan Winston's animatronics, and 6 minutes of it is industrial light and magic CGI. Think of how movies like now... What did I just mention? It's a 2-hour movie, right? 15 minutes of screen time of the monsters, 9 of which are practical, 6 are CGI. Think about how entire landscapes and settings are now CGI, and that's not a compliment. That's not like, oh, look how far we've come. No, it's like, this movie is a classic, peerless classic, and 15 minutes in a 2-hour film is all we get of the actual dinosaurs. So that what that amounts to is around 11% of the film is dedicated to dinosaur scenes. And now our watch has ended. So, in addition to the trivia and just general commentary, one thing that I like to do with Tramadom is give recommendations of similar films in case anyone is interested, or just rewatching this movie, or if you're watching it for the first time, gives you some kind of enticement to watch movies like it. So, considering that this is a blockbuster, I thought I would give you a blockbuster recommendation list, which is broken down into 90s nostalgia and similar creature features. So, on the 90s nostalgia, I do think that Jumanji makes the perfect companion piece to Jurassic Park. Also, Congo, a similar Michael Crichton film or book. Tremors, and Independence Day. On the creature feature side, I would serve this as a companion piece with Jaws, of course, Aliens, naturally, Lake Placid, and Deep Blue Sea. So, as I was asked by Tramadom several times, especially at the beginning of this film here, I was posed the question, what would I classify this movie as? And to me, as far as I'm concerned, this movie is undoubtedly, unquestionably a horror film. Let's take a look at how, and it all comes down to the presentation. Let's look at the slow burn with the dinosaur reveal, which to me, that's classic movie monster setup, and you can't even deny that. The first time you see the raptor, it's being transported in a cage, and everything is really ominous. And when you see it, like, you see the light source behind the trees and the leaves like shuffling around, you think that it's an actual dinosaur, but it's just a cage. But still, that's building anticipation and a sense of tension and suspense. And even within the kennel, the raptor still manages to wreak havoc. Going so far as not only to push its cage backwards on the rail, but also managed to take a snack with him with the black guy that it devoured. Next, they're being fed. Or no, you see it in baby form first, but then afterwards, the raptors are being fed, still within an enclosure, concealed within containment, and all you hear is how ravenous these things are from the blood-curdling shrieks of a cow. By the time we get to actually seeing it up close and personal, I mean, the bird of prey expert of all people has them in his sights with a shotgun staring down the barrel. He's got it in its sights. The hunter becomes the hunted, and you finally realize how dangerous these things are. I mean, that thing made ground beef out of Crocodile Dundee. Too right, mate? Now, I know what you're thinking. That's a pretty good Aussie accent. Crikey, that's not a knife. This is a knife. I'd buy that for $1 do I woods. Foster's, Australian for beer. Okay. The theme of man playing God, guys, come on now. Do I even? Frankenstein, Island of Dr. Moreau, every mad scientist ever, not to mention splitting the atom to unleash another terrible lizard in Godzilla. If you can't see for yourself that Jurassic Park has the horror genre literally woven into its DNA, then you need another peek under the microscope. That or better taste. Nature run amok. This is right there with that class of fear fiction. Them, 1954, giant radiated ants, Hitchcock's The Birds, 1990s arachnophobia. Now, obviously, Jurassic Park is head and shoulders above those. I'm just saying that there certainly is a precedent of animals running wild that are deeply rooted in horror, and that's not even mentioning the obvious one, which is Jaws. So terrible lizards aren't exempt from that list just because it's a movie for families. When we think about 90s horror entertainment that sought to emulate Jurassic Park, I mean, you can't deny the influence that this film had, not just on blockbusters and CGI and summer films, but think about within its own decade, other movies that were inspired by it, which were also horror. The Island of Dr. Moreau, The Relic, Dino Crisis games, Lake Placid, Godzilla 1988. All right, admittedly, the less said about that one, the better. But you get where I'm going with this. But the point remains. Another seemingly forgotten aspect of the fear factor, which flies in the face and subverts the action. Let's think of the shotgun. Just that trusty weapon in the context of this film. Now, when do you see the shotgun? You see the Aussie holding that weapon in the very beginning with the kennel scene. And what good does it do him? Obviously, it doesn't go after the raptor. Doesn't go after him. It goes after one of the other security guards. But he's still unable to subdue the raptor with shotgun in hand. Everybody else, if I'm not mistaken, had tasers, whereas he was armed with that weapon. Next, same character, the same Aussie, he's on the raptor hunt. So you think that if anybody, he's the expert, he's got the gun, he sees the raptor before it sees him, so you think that he'll at least take down one of these. But no, he's the one that turns out to be the one that's being hunted. Finally, as you eagle-eyed viewers saw, Grant unloads 3 rounds through the window of the security room before the raptor gets in to attack and prowl the remaining 4 humans. So it's almost like the shotgun here, the weapon, is used as like false sense of security. Because if you think that one of these characters has them, it's either useless or it wears out its use even while it's fired at the intended targets, and the gun is always used with the raptors. Now you could say obviously it wouldn't do much good against a T-Rex, but the fact that the raptors are much smaller, you would think it would be able to take down all of them. But guys, 3 straight scenes, the horror completely overwhelms what should be the action, because I mean, come on, if you're talking an action movie, what better plot device can you use than a gun? But you get false senses of security with it, because it never takes down any of the dinosaurs here, especially one of the most dangerous one, the pack hunter raptor. Another thing I would like people to consider, that this film, you could say, oh, it's made for families, and I advised before, don't fall for the whimsical theme song of this movie, because that's like, is it iconic? Absolutely, but it serves as window dressing to mask the fact that this is a horror movie. When you think of 90s PG horror, keep something in mind. That element, that category of fear fiction was just one of 2 metrics that 90s had over the 80s decade of horror. The other one being anthology. I think that 90s anthologies blow 80s anthologies out of the water. So what do I mean? Films like The Addams Family, Hocus Pocus, The Witches. You can slot Jurassic Park right up in there. And all of those movies constitute as horror. And like Hocus Pocus just got announced for a trilogy. They're having another. Beetlejuice was admittedly 80s, but you get the point. Just because the fan base might be children, that doesn't disqualify something like Jurassic Park from being entered into the pantheon of creature features, and especially horror films. And you know, there are keep something else in mind. This will be my final point. There are absolutely films that aren't your typical horror fare, the way that we would normally think of them, that are absolutely part of the genre. What did I just mention? 2 decades, 80s and 90s. All right, let's look at the 80s. They Live, John Carpenter's subversive film. You can't tell me that. Really looking at that movie, it's not out and out horror. Yeah, the aliens didn't look freakish, but you can't deny that is a bona fide horror film. Another one, Stephen King's The Dead Zone, which is directed by another prominent horror filmmaker, David Cronenberg. Are you going to deny that those films are part of fear fiction? Now let's fast forward to the 90s. X-Files. Who's going to say that doesn't belong to horror? Another horror treasured horror film, Cube. Technically, like, it can be seen more thriller, but it's absolutely incorporated into horror. It's more on the fringe, I would say. And guess what? With all those points, that proves that Jurassic Park is absolutely, without question, a horror film. So, if you liked this watch party, like the video and share it with your friends. If you hated it, subscribe to the channel and share it with your enemies. So, what is on the scene with the Mind's Eye Theater as well as the Mind's Eye? So, this was the end of a very busy week. Let me go through my schedule, which I invite you to watch along. Monday, I released my In Defense of the Strangers video. Tuesday, I did the Returnal Scream Stream Round 3. Wednesday, my thoughts on James Wan's Lovecraft Dream Project. Yesterday, I did a playthrough of the Lies of P demo, and today was obviously the Jurassic Park 30-year anniversary stream. I ask that everyone subscribe to my Clips channel, Mind's Eye Incisions. Just the way that the name suggests, it is bite-sized content, 2 to 3 minutes of my long-form video. I do ask that everyone subscribe to my Rumble, same as my YouTube channel, Mind's Eye Inkarnate. Also, I am starting the path to my Kick affiliate program, where you can find me, Mind Games Inc. I will be posting soon the Orphan Watch Party now that I've begun muting the audio for that. So, coming attractions. My Mind Games schedule is now same day, Tuesday, new time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard instead of 8:30 p.m. So I'll be continuing my last playthrough this Tuesday of Returnal, round 4. As far as regular videos, I have 3 Corners reports that are up and coming. One of horror streaming, one of survival horror, and one of upcoming scary movie releases. Next, when you join the Mind's Eye Theater, I don't know yet if this will be the last Mind's Eye Theater of the month. In the event that it is, July is looking pretty big for the watch party because we's in BBQ season, not to mention BBLs if you take to the beaches. If I get my copy of the FPS documentary, the digital version, I'll definitely live stream it. Hocus Pocus 30th anniversary will be what's on tap for next month. Also, The Conjuring turns 10 years old. Grabbers turns 10 years old. So we'll definitely do anniversary watch parties for those. And finally, Sleepaway Camp turns 40. Its release date was November, but what the hell would be the point of waiting until then? No, we're going to do it in the summer. So, mark your calendars and say your prayers. I've been Inkarnate, offering a word of caution. Fear the worst, so long you recognize who's best.
You're resigned to your fate? Time to subscribe to your fears.
Warn your friends. Warn everyone.